Grim Dawn patch 1170 is here, and with it are 35 brand new monster infrequents that make all sorts of crazy builds possible. So what your good old Uncle me has gone did is I scoured the list to bring you 5 theorycraft builds that are juicy, like a fresh plum on a summer evening. Let's do the damn thing. The first build I want to talk about is one that has a tremendous amount of potential, which is pure Fire Forcewave Commando. You see, for the longest time, Commando has been stuck in this weird space where it's either a mediocre auto attacker or a mediocre caster, but it's been waiting to get a new tool to push it in either direction. Lo and behold, Bane Gargoth Shard. This shield, combined with the Handguards of Justice, convert every single point of Forcewave damage into fire damage, making it possibly the single strongest fire damage spell in the entire game. Mix that with all of Demo's resistance reduction and fire damage buffs, and you've got the makings of a serious build on your hands. But the fun doesn't stop there. With the Shambler's Heart Amulet, you can reduce the cooldown of your primary nuke by 0.3 seconds. And it's worth noting that both of these items can roll with additional cooldown reduction on top, dropping that number even further. The 8% bonus offensive ability is just a cherry on top of a deliciously broken sundae. The amulet drops from the boss at the end of the Flooded Passage in Act 1, the shield drops from the boss of the Chthonic Rift in the Plains of Strife. This next build features an item that ranks at the top of my personal list for this patch, and that is the Storm Herald. This weapon takes the Doom out of Doombolt. Finally, a pure lightning caster is possible in Grim Dawn, and it looks pretty sweet. The inherent crit damage modifier in Doombolt synergizes beautifully with Stormcaller's Pact, both of which this dagger boosts, while giving it bigger base damage for juicier bolt crits. The only rub here is that pure lightning conjurer has little to no build support, so you're going to have to get creative when you're looking for items. This dagger drops from the boss of the Immolation, the Herald of Flame, just past Dead Man's Gulch. Number 3 is either a complete meme or totally busted, and I cannot wait to find out which. The Aether Scorch Cleaver bumps Mirror of Herodices up from 3 seconds to 4.5 seconds while giving you a substantial 350% bonus physical damage. Slap another one in your offhand and you double that from 3 seconds to 6 seconds, while the bonus jumps up to 700%, all while completely invulnerable. Are you with me so far? Good, because it gets even crazier. Throw an Ascended Diadem into the mix for a grand total of 6.5 seconds of invulnerability, damage reflection, while doing 700% bonus physical damage with 35% boosted crit damage. That's pretty good, right? But it gets even nuttier. If we can lower the cooldown of Mirror by a measly 2 seconds, we can use Aeon's Hourglass to instantly refresh the cooldown, giving us 13 seconds of pure, unadulterated God mode. Move over, Empyrean. Papa's coming home. You can find this axe on Venarius Backbreaker in Stonerun Quarry, due west of the Bloodgrove Rift. This next build on the list gives Paladin a breath of fresh air in a new playstyle, which I'm going to call Hit and Run Paladin. Skybreaker Circlet gives Paladin 2 new powerful electrical spells, both of which crowd control heavily while giving you pretty nutty mobility. Rune of Kalastor is pretty strong in its own, but factor in the defensive ability Shred from Stormbox of Elgoloth, the bonus crit damage from Artifact Handling and Arcane Empowerment, and all of Oathkeeper's offensive ability buffs, and it will positively melt almost anything. This helmet drops from Sister Bravna and Fort Heron in the Bloodgrove. Our final build is a bit of an enigma. The Gaze of Ungoliax turns Devastation into a pure Vitality damage barrage and makes Ill Omen a very decent form of resistance reduction. You can run a 4-piece Diviner set to double down on Vitality Devastation, tightening its impact area while reducing its cooldown, while giving your Ill Omen a little extra oomph. Or maybe you run 4-piece Morganeth for even further resistance reduction to Ill Omen and more cold damage support. Perhaps the build is something else entirely, but one thing is clear, this amulet has gobs of potential build implications, and the resulting spellbinder is going to kick ass. You can find it on Ungoliax in the Forgotten Depths in the Shaded Basin. Well gang, that is all the time I have for you today. If you want to see more Grim Dawn content, or if you're interested in seeing any of the 5 builds mentioned to see how they shake out, subscribe to see those videos in the next few days. Touch my buttons, click my bells, meet me at Denny's, and I'll see you guys soon.